Welcome to TPM TV, Hisia Siasani. My name is Kelly Makolo and this is your #1 political show in Kajiado County. And today we are hanging out, or we are having a talk with the former aspirant of the MP position in Kajiado North.
Candidate.
Former candidate. What's the difference between aspirant and candidate? Of Kajiado North. ORSBON George YOGO is also an author, motivational speaker, and a businessman. That's what I had. He will clarify that. You're welcome to the show. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Okay. Just to start, or to begin, or to set pace to our interview, you vied for Kajiado North MP seat.
Yeah.
And maybe you did not manage, you did not manage to clinch the seat. 3 years down the line, what can you say is the current state of Kajiado North?
Well, when you said aspirant, I corrected you and said I was not an aspirant. I was a candidate. There's a difference between being an aspirant and a candidate. An aspirant is somebody who aspires to get a seat. A candidate simply means you've gone through the nomination process and you got accredited by the Electoral Commission and actually went to the ballot. So I went as a party's candidate to the ballot.
Yeah, you represented the ODM party.
Yes.
Okay.
We were several aspirants before we went through the nomination process. We were aspirants before we got accredited by the electoral body. So the moment you got accreditation and officially went to the ballot, you cease being an aspirant, you become a candidate.
Okay.
And the moment you go through the nomination, you become an elect. Yes. So back to your question. Well, I ran on an ODM ticket. I am a life member of the Orange Democratic Movement Party. That remains my party. And that is also the same vehicle that I'm using for 2027 elections.
You've just declared your bid for 2027.
No, I have not just declared.
Yeah.
I declared it before. I am just reaffirming.
Okay.
Yes.
So, as I asked, it's now 3 years down the line. You had your manifesto, and maybe looking at the current MP and the work that he is doing, what can you say is the state of Kajiado North in regards also in taking into consideration what you had in plan?
I will not talk about the sitting member of parliament. I believe that his work is the court in which he is. So what he does will definitely judge him. And the jury is the electorate. So depending on what the jury decides, the judgment would soon be out in the year 2027. So definitely I would not speak about the sitting member of parliament. Number 2 is not on platform. And I believe in a principle that you never talk about somebody in their absentia or somebody who is not there and given an opportunity to defend themselves. So I will leave his performance, his record to the jury, which in Kajiado North and countrywide, in fact globally, is the electorate. Well, so that means I would basically be restricting my conversations to myself and talking about my manifesto. What I believed in then is what I still believe in now. I believe that the electorates of Kajiado North deserve better. That was my belief then, it still remains my belief now. I ran on the fundamental platform of infrastructure, and my manifesto was basically infrastructure based. And when I looked at the infrastructures, I was looking at what I call the road infrastructure. I looked at the academic infrastructure. The road infrastructure needs no explanation. Academic infrastructure, that is basically the bedrock of the growth of any society or economy. Academic infrastructure is very restrictive in terms of academic growth in Kajiado North as a constituency. The academic institutions that we have from primary to secondary remain basically the same academic infrastructure that we had a couple of years ago when Saitoti was still the member of parliament for this constituency, the larger Kajiado North constituency. You'd be surprised to note, for example, when we take a look at Ongata-Rongai constituency, in Ongata-Rongai constituency,
Ward?
Ongata-Rongai ward, then you see Olekasasi Primary School. So people would be traveling all the way from Ongatarongai to Olekasasi Primary School. So we have very limited academic infrastructure. So I still believe that within the confines of financial provisions, of the legal provisions for the Member of Parliament working, I have always said this, and I mean it well, as a Member of Parliament, you have very limited resources, but you can be a good beggar. Like I've said, yes, you can be a good beggar. That is, have the right connections that could help you push through the budgeting process to enable us have several other additional academic institutions within the constituency. I had also looked at the socio-economic infrastructure. And I mentioned that Kajiado North is the biggest constituency in terms of financial contribution to Kajiado as a county, but with very dilapidated, very dilapidated amenities that are required to empower or to boost businesses and socio-economic state of the constituency. So I still believe in the certain things. I can go over through the entire manifesto, but I still believe in what I believed in then, and it is my hope that one of these fine days, if God gives me the opportunity, and I believe He will, to implement what I believed in then. Should it not happen, well, I don't say it may not happen. Yes.
It's a question of, is it if or when? Okay, we'll come back to that, Bwana Yogo. Let's get back to, you've said that you had your manifesto, and that's what you still believe in. Let's go back. In our constitution, the role of an MP is oversight, representation, and legislation.
That's very true.
When the Supreme Court was nullifying or not nullifying, or it termed CDF, NGCDF as illegal, one of the key issues that they majored on is that it went against the principles of the Constitution that are on separation of powers.
Of the evolution.
Yeah, and separation of powers. So when you're saying that, first of all, you intended to build things like schools and so on, or to have more schools in Kajiado North, one of the areas that really depended was on NGCDF. Now, how do you plan to bring this development now that NGCDF is hanging on a very thin thread? On the same, you've said that you can be a beggar or you can make connections.
Actually, I just wanted to tell it to you straight. Unless you never heard me, but I realized you actually heard me. I said, for you to work, you just need to be a good beggar. And I said, you need to have good connections that would help you canvass effectively through the budgeting process. And I also was able to say that through a budgeting process. Part of my responsibility in terms of representation is to make sure I represent my people through the budgeting committees to ensure that what my people need are captured within the budgeting process. So, well, I do not need to have the money for it to happen. I only need to canvass because I represent my people. Yes, that is part of my mandate and responsibility. Yeah.
I was heading there. So let's start on NGCDF.
Yes.
What's your view on it?
Well, I stand by my party leader. And my party leader is of the opinion that NGCDF, you see, we need to find out the origin of NGCDF. NGCDF came as a devolved financial structure to help people at the grassroots. We did not have devolution.
Yeah.
As time went by, we had the constitution, the 2010 constitution that brought in the devolved governance structures. And that put certain things in the hands of the county governance with other resources at the national governance. So it beats logic because what are the areas that CDF captures? we are looking at academics, and they have to give bursaries. But we still have Ministry of Education. It is only the pre-primary that has been devolved. So the rest of it remained with the national government. So where do we draw a mandate to keep pushing through the national government constituency development fund? We are of the opinion that we have too much duplicity in terms of responsibility within the governance structure. One of such issues is on the NGCDF. Because the truth is this, the mandate of a member of parliament is clearly defined. The roles are clearly defined, both in the act and in the law. So we allowed this to happen within a period of time because we did not have the devolved structures. Right now, it is the responsibility, or it should be the cry and responsibility of every individual to ensure that the devolution works for us. And let's allow the devolved units that have gone to the counties to be run by the counties, but allow the national government to do what belongs to them, and members of parliament to do what belongs to them.
Okay, there was a lot of noise about that. Maybe we'll come to
the reason
later.
why there is noise is because most members of parliament are banking on the release of funds for their own re-election. A member of parliament spoke to me and told me, you know, when you take CDF away from some of us, you make us dysfunctional. And I told him to face, he's a friend of mine, and I told him to face, then you don't know what took you to parliament. Because our core mandate is legislation. There is too much legislative responsibility that is on the legislators that they need to be executing. And I don't think development should be part of the process. So we must not use what we know would be an act that enables us to woo the voters into re-electing us. If we don't have the NGCDF as members of parliament, we still have other responsibilities that we need to execute. Let the members of parliament see how I am able to canvass their needs or on their behalf at the National Assembly, and also within the national government, to make sure that what ought to be done is still being done.
Okay, I wanted to say that there was a lot of discussion about that. The fact that, first of all, it was said issues like education should go back to the devolved unit, to the county government, should be under the county government. That was one of the discussions that was being talked about. But the issue was that you find that even most of the counties, you find that they spend, in fact, more money in the wage bill and so on, rather than in the development. So the question was, or what many people are asking is, how sure are we that when these some of these functions will fully be taken into devolution, are we sure that they will function well? Look at the health system or the health sector. We are experiencing challenges. Almost each and every 3 months cannot pass before we have a nurses strike. So look at most of the ECDs in the county government or under the county government. We cannot confidently say that it is working. So why should we add more? Why should we add more functions to the devolved units when what we already have is not fully working?
Do we have strikes at the national level?
Yes, we do.
So do we close the government?
So should we justify the fact that we have?
To answer me. Do we need to close the government because there are strikes?
No.
Teachers go on strike.
Yeah.
They are run from the TSC, which is a national organ under the Ministry of Education. Do we close Ministry of Education? The truth is this: devolution is still in the teething process, and we must understand that we are working within a very constricted fiscal space. Not everything we need we can get. Now we only need what we call prudence in the appropriation of the resources that we have, however limited they are. So we should not use there are places that devolution is working. Let's be very honest. There are counties that are seeing tarmac road for the first time because of devolution. So the failures of others must not be the reason for the reprimand of others.
Is it working in Kajiado County?
Well, that does not disqualify, whether it works or it doesn't work, does not disqualify the setting up of a devolution process. What you need to be questioning is the leaders that you put in place. And if devolution has failed, then you and I, who are voters in Kajiado, we have failed. Because who put the leaders in position? They don't drop from heaven.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
Remember, this is TPM TV. We'll be taking your questions in our social media platform, TPM TV, in Facebook and in YouTube. Okay, let's get back. Before we completely move from this point, you've said that you need to be a beggar, or you need to have connections. We've seen MPs going to State House. We've seen forums from leaders from different parts of the country, and they say that we are going to look for development. Is that what you mean by being a beggar?
Well, let me use another term so that you don't misrepresent my opinion. Let me talk about lobbying. Budget is a technical process, implementation is political. That's a fact that we have to agree with. So when I talk about lobbying, one, you must understand that the country operates within a fiscal space. There is the planning process and there is the budgeting process. The planning process incorporates the intention of the government for execution. The budgeting process is the tabulation of what has been put together from the planning for execution. Now, oftentimes, not what is desirable is actually captured. So my responsibility in lobbying is because I represent my people. I listen to my people. So when I'm talking about lobbying on their behalf, is because I have sat down with my people, I have listened to them and prioritized their needs. So my responsibility in lobbying is to make sure what we prioritize as a constituency, or what we consider as key areas as a constituency, are captured as the key areas by the government. So I don't have to knock the State House. Well, I can go to State House anytime. I still go to State House now, but I'm not going to beg. So State House belongs to the country, and it belongs to the citizen. Anyone is free to go to State House.
I've just gotten that statement. When did you start going to State House freely? Because, okay, that one will answer later.
When did I start going to State House freely?
Because
it's the State House of the Republic of Kenya. I am a leader in this government.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Because I saw you eating tear gas sometimes back. So it's okay. Don't you think, Bwana Yogo, this puts us in a position that you must be in the right with the government? For example, 2 years ago, you are in ODM. It was in fact very wrong, in quotes, very wrong for an ODM MP being seen in State House. The issue was in fact without...
And if things change now, it will still be very wrong for you to be seen with them.
So don't you think that first of all we are trying to say that for you to get development, or in your lobbying call, it only works for those who are right with the government?
Parliament is not the executive. Those are two different things, so don't beat yourself up. When we're talking about legislature, we are talking about an arm of the government. A member of parliament is a member of the legislative arm of parliament. And there are parliamentary processes. For example, there is the parliamentary committee that handles the budget. There is the parliamentary budget office. That is where the member of parliament sits. So now, you also need to understand that the budget process is actually within the purview of the National Assembly. I wish I could take you through the budgeting process from when the circular is issued by the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and to the sector setting when the sectors are set in place, through the public participation. There is what we call the BROP, the Budget Review Output Paper, and it goes to a point where now it goes to the committee in Parliament.
I'm aware of that, both for the national and for the county government.
Yes, so you are aware that finally it has to go to the committee of the National Assembly. Once it goes to the committee, they have the jurisdiction So it is my responsibility not to go to State House, because budget is not done in State House, not within the executive, but within the legislative arm of government, in Parliament, where I sit. Now, you don't have to be a favorite of the executive to sit in Parliament. You only need to be a favorite of your electorate to get an opportunity to be in Parliament, and then lobby to the committees in Parliament. So the two different things.
So the lobbying is there. The lobbying is in the committee. Okay, moving on, ODM is celebrating 20 years, and they will be in Kajiado. They'll be in Kajiado on 15th, if I'm not wrong. Is it 15th? Yeah, 15th of this month. We've had the membership registration, membership drive. We've not seen so much of it in Kajiado now.
Where were you looking for?
Was it happening?
That's why I'm asking, where were you looking for it? Because registration is an ongoing process. People register even from their phones. You don't have to queue online, publicly, for people to see that people is registering. But the membership drive is an ongoing process. I think I can have my bosses out there encouraging people to register. We have mechanisms and systems that are being used. For example, in Kajiado, we have the party pundits who go around and encourage people to do registration. We have a network that has been set in place. So the membership registration, part of the meeting we had in Kajiado today, the part of the meeting that we are having in Isinya today is the county leadership of the party. And part of the things that we discussed is the continued membership registration process. It is only closed when we go to party nominations. Otherwise, after that, it's an ongoing process, just like the national organization. Yes.
ODM in Kajiado North had only...
Or did you expect Raila Odinga to come for you to know it's a drive?
I saw so many in the other counties. We had these forums where they were encouraging. That's why I said I didn't see much of it in Kajiado North.
Because you're not doing it.
Okay. So
we've held several forums. Personally, I've held a couple of meetings. Yes.
Okay, the listeners will tell us if they saw the same. Okay, moving on. In the same, ODM had only one MCA in Kajiado North, which of course it was a milestone. We did not have one before. So my question is, what are you...
elected MCA.
One elected MCA. We did not have...
We have more than one elected, but one.
Yeah, I'm talking about the elected one, sorry. So we had... It was a milestone. Because first of all, that is Ololua Ward. We had not had an ODM MCA before. So what are you doing to make sure that such numbers increase?
Well, one, it is not only at the county level. We are looking at fundamental electoral reforms so as to make sure that when it has to vote, the reason why we missed a couple of seats was the manipulation of the electoral process. And that included up to the members of If you look at it factually, ODM should have carried the day by winning all the constituencies. But two constituencies were not. So one of the things that we are pushing for, and not just at the county level, but nationally, is the fundamental electoral reforms that would guarantee that the actual vote counts as you cast it. That is one.
Okay, can we just go for a break? We work on, producers work on something, then we'll come from there.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Thank you. that Milka is from Ngai Murunyak ward, and the business support program, the small scale business support program, is run by Jacinta Karade, who is from Ole Kasasi, Ongatarungai ward. So they have a program that they are put in place. I have teams that are running across the constituencies. Up to, he can mention, even if she asks me a question, I can mention names and say areas where people are benefited. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So heading into the 2027 elections, there is now a new phenomenon that is coming up, especially that everyone is talking about, the Gen Z votes. Many people are saying this is what will swing the vote, this is what will be very impactful in the next general elections. First of all, how do you intend to capitalize on such votes? Do you believe, and also do you believe that they will have a say in the coming elections?
Well, one vote is too much. So I would not say there is a vote that does not count. Every single vote counts. The only question is to what extent do they count? Most probably I would have to give you a little statistics because I've been in this field for some time. In 2013, and you can go find out, in 2013, okay, we talk about 72.8% of the Kenyan population being 35 years and below. Of this, the voting population of the registered voters, almost 65% is 35 years and below. Of the huge bracket of this 65%, 46%, which is the majority of the voting population, falls in between the age of 18 and 25. Now, let me give you the alarming statistics. Of this huge vote, in 2013, the total number of these voters that came out to vote was 17%. In 2017, it was 17.17%. In 2018, it was 18.6%. That is a period of how many years? 15 years. The increment was less than 5%. Well, I'm not saying that they may wake up now, but most probably the Gen Z is awoke, but awoke to what extent? One thing that we must agree on is, I will say it with a lot of humility, the Gen Z know what they don't want, but they don't know what they want.
What don't they want?
And I say that very confidently.
What don't they want?
So the extent to which they will affect the vote, and let's be very honest, it's not now that they're coming up. I don't know how many of you remember Peter Kenneth.
Yeah.
If
In
Peter
our
Kenneth, if the youth were to make Peter Kenneth a president, Peter would have been. So it's not now that they're waking up. The only difference is, difference now is, then they were only on social media. Now they came to the streets. You understanding me? So can they now translate these streets into the actual vote? I would really appreciate to see that. For your information, I have Gen Zs and young adults in my house. So I know their attitude. One of the things that they're less concerned about is civic duty. I don't know whether I answer your question.
So, how are you planning, you as a candidate or an aspirant, you're now an aspirant.
Now I'm an aspirant.
You'll become a candidate.
Yes.
Do you have
That is if I get accredited by IBC. First, if I get nominated by my party and get accredited by IBC, then I become a candidate. Yes.
So, do you have any plans for them?
For the young people, what kind of plans? To get their vote?
To get their votes, and after you get their votes, what are you planning how are you planning to represent them as an age group? How are you planning which legislations are you planning to bring on board, and so on?
Talking about legislation now is being preemptive. That's a fact. Talking about legislation now is being preemptive. We still have 2 years to elections. So we can't talk about legislations now on what kind of legislations are we do for the young people. One of the things that I would want the young people is to be proactive in their civic responsibility and duties as individuals. That is one. But in terms of looking for their votes, every politician must have a strategy to capture given voting population. So yes, we have a strategy of capturing the voting population of all age groups, including the young people. The only question is, when I sit down with a lot of young people, they tell me what they don't want. They don't tell me what they want.
What do they want?
So
you're not answering that question. You're not answering that question. What don't they want?
What they don't want is out there. Is what they want that is not out there. What's one thing they don't want? Ruto must go. They don't want Ruto. That is there. Whoever they want is not there. What they don't want is they don't want the finance bill. But they fail to understand that you cannot finance the budget without the finance bill. Apparently, allow me to say this. You know, you're driving me into discussions that I'm trying to avoid. Absolutely. I'm trying to avoid certain discussions because I don't want to cause an uproar. We are living in what we call as the fourth industrial revolution. I am of the opinion that the fourth industrial and the information age in which we find ourselves in has actually contributed to the development of the greatest or the highest level of buffoonery. We live with young people who walk with the world encyclopedia in their hands, but they only visit it for information and not for knowledge. And so I asked a question, for example, last time when we were doing the budgeting process and I was talking to student leaders, and I asked, for example, what is the difference between a finance bill and a budget? I could most probably pose that question to even all of us here. And most probably, I would guarantee you that nobody would give me an answer. When the Gen Zs were going to the streets in June last year, they went to the streets to block the reading of the budget and to stop the budgeting process. But their clamor was they did not want the finance bill. But when was the finance bill presented in Parliament? In April. Today, for example, do you know that we've already begun the budgeting process for 2025-2026? It started a month ago with the launch of the sector working groups. You understand me?
Yeah.
Now, for us to determine what finally goes into, one, the finance bill, and two, the budget proposals that will be tabled in Parliament on 12th of June next year, it starts now. So the question is, to what extent are we involved? So I don't want to get into certain conversations.
Okay, let me come back to the infrastructure and the schools and where we started the discussion. We had so many promises, especially about Kajiado North.
By who?
By the current president. Some roads were mentioned, barabara kutoka wapi, and so on. They were mentioned. Currently, we've not seen the progress. For example, the Masai Road and so on.
Which Masai Road?
Is it Masai? The Masai Lodge Road. It was promised to be tarmacked. There are so many promises. And now that you are in the good books of the government, what is the progress?
Masai Lodge Road is in the pipeline. It's actually, the contractor is on site. They may have been on hold right now. One thing you must understand, a lot of road projects in the country stalled. Not just road projects, but a lot of government projects stalled. One, because of, I've talked about the constricted fiscal space. That led to the stalling of several projects. One, because of the skyrocketing pending bills. Why did we have a lot of pending bills? One, the government in successive years has been over-projecting. When you over-project revenue collection, the projections that you have informs your budget. So you budget based on a false projection. Now, once you budget, you spend. So you are spending what you budgeted and projected, yet you cannot get. The end result is we have a ballooning pending bill. Now, that led to the stalling of several projects. One of the things that I would say we, the experts, did when we went into the government was, number one, to reduce the projection of the government to realizable level. That is number one. One of the things that again happened is the institution of securitization that helps to return the contractors, and more so on the road networks, onto the various projects. So the pending bills within the road sector, the payment has been ongoing to make sure that the contractors go back to the roads. And that is why some of our roads remained stalled for a period of time. I was involved in ensuring that we had money to finish certain roads, more so the Olekasasi Road and the rest of the other roads that we are doing. But now, this was because now government had put in place a mechanism that would enable them to finance the pending projects and enable the contractors to get back to the road. And that is why you saw them had been suspended for a period of time, because the contractors withdrew for non-payment. But right now, if a contractor has delayed to be on the road, is because either they have raised a certificate because they finished the money they had, and they have raised a certificate. And I also want you to realize that we came to the end of the financial year. And there are reforms that have been happening since the beginning of FY 2025-2026. So a lot of funds have basically not been released, most probably from this week or this month that finances are going to be released, because we had several pending reforms that were being enacted by the government. So once payment starts coming on, even the contractors that you see are still sluggish in their approach will also pick up. Yeah.
I'm getting a text from Cliff. Let me read the text. Cliff is saying that Mwesh is one of the youthful leaders, if not, I don't know if he is a youth. That is Cliff is saying Mwesh is one of the youthful leaders. We've seen some youthful voices rising in ODM. Is it that they are seeing beyond Raila Odinga, and what is his position?
I will tell you a statement that was said by a wise man. If I have seen any farther, it is because I've stood on the shoulders of those that I've seen far. I will never claim to see beyond Raila Odinga. And any young person who claims to see beyond Raila Odinga is living, that's a fallacy. It's an hallucination. You can't see beyond your leaders. The only thing you do is that you stand on their shoulders to see further than them, which means they provide a platform for us. If I am where I am, it is because Raila Odinga has provided a platform for some of us. Yes.
Who else am I seeing? I received a text. Joel asks, where are you standing in the gubernatorial race in 2027 now that the stage is set?
I am not running for governor.
Will you be supporting anyone?
Definitely.
Who is it?
My party is yet to make a decision on that. I have a party. Yes.
So whoever the party supports is who you will support?
We have two arrangements here. We have my party, the ODM. We also have the broad-based arrangement. If it lives beyond the 2027, well, some of us are praying it lives beyond 2027, but that decision has to be made by the party. So if the party agrees to extend the olive branch to the ruling government or the ruling party, and this arrangement lives beyond 2027, then it will inform the political realignments and arrangements. So I cannot talk about my position. I will talk about my position as a member of parliament, because that is what I know I am pushing through my party system.
What happens if your party says that we will not field a candidate in Kajiado North?
If they say they will not field a candidate, they will definitely tell us who to support.
So you'll support whoever the party says?
I work with the party. I can't go against the party.
You know, you come as a person who your loyalty only lies in the party and not your own principles as a person.
Number one, my principle as a person is one, obedience. That's my principle. I don't believe that disagreement with the existing structures make me principled. No. I don't have to strive to be my own man to prove that I am principled. The truth is this: a lot of times that people strive to be their own men, they are puppets of other people who micromanage them. For me, I believe in existing structures. Politics is by parties, and therefore I have a party. There are only two ways by which you can thrive politically. Either you choose to be independent or you belong to a party. And I chose to belong to a party. Each party has a mechanism and a structure. My obedience of those structures does not mean I am not principled. Yeah.
What happens to your...
If I want to be my own person, then I quit the party and I become independent.
What happens to the manifesto and the thoughts you had for Kajiado North? Should you not be vying? Because when we started, I was asking you, how do you see the performance of the current MP? Someone asked about maybe, was it a bridge or something? Sue asked about...
That was Sue.
Yeah, she asked about the bridge and the tarmacking of the road. It seems that when you are not in power, then, or when you are not the representative, then your voice will not be heard on such matters. So what happens now if your party says, it's just if your party says that it will not field a candidate in Kajiado North, what about the dreams you have for Kajiado North?
If my party says they are not fielding a gubernatorial candidate, is that not what you asked? Or they're not fielding an ODM, an MP candidate?
Yeah.
So where would I have gone?
So what happened? Now that's my question. What happens to your dreams? Do
They can't say that.
manifesto you have?
They can only say they're not fielding a candidate if we don't have a candidate.
But you said you are under the broad-based arrangement.
And does the broad-based arrangement mean that ODM does not field a candidate?
So it's not something that can happen?
That is unforeseeable. Yes.
Okay. We'll be taking some questions. Remember, this is TPM TV, Truth of the People Media, and we are talking to ORSBON YOGO, who was a candidate. I got it right this time round. Who was a candidate for the Kajiado North MP seat in 2022, and he has also said that he will vie in 2020.
I will not vie. I am vying.
Okay, you are vying. He is vying in 2027. So if you have any questions before you wind up the interview, please talk to us through our social media platforms at TPM TV, on Facebook and on YouTube, where we are live currently. Coming back to the broad-based arrangement, just recently, your party leader said that first, they have not said that they will support William Ruto. They have not said beyond 2027.
Statement of fact.
Also, he said that if there will be, I found the statement to be very open, subject to interpretation. So currently, according to how the government is, you said you are one of the experts in the government.
Yes, I am.
So how do you rate the performance of this government, according to the promises that they made in 2022?
I was not there when they made the promises in 2022.
But you know the plan. When you entered, you know the plan they had.
I know the government is running what is called a better agenda, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. My responsibility is to ensure that the things that we saw them doing wrong, we help them to correct and help them do better. I have given you examples of certain things.
Let me ask you.
I didn't finish.
It is just a follow-up question. You'll answer all of them. What is your role in as an expert here?
Now, my role is an advisor. Yes.
To?
Well, I am a government advisor.
Okay. What? Where specifically? Which sector?
I sit at the national treasury.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you can proceed. I just wanted to get that clear.
Okay. Well, so I told you of the fundamental reforms that some of us, the experts that my party, which is generally an opposition party, sent into government. And there are certain reforms that we're instituting. Like I mentioned, that the responsibility of the coalition government is to amend the errors of the, not just the UDA government, but of the previous regimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of the blames that are put on the UDA government were actually the doings of the previous regimes. Well, one would argue that Ruto, the current president, was also the deputy in the previous regime, but we know the arrangement that was there then. And we also understand that the truth is deputies are basically flower girls. The responsibility of the government, because what is the responsibility of the constitutional mandate of a deputy president is, number one, to deputize the president. The president, number one. Number two, to undertake assignments as assigned by the president. So there is no constitutional responsibility or mandate that is given to deputy, whether it's deputy president or deputy governors. You wait for the president to tell you what to do. When he's not around, you are given certain responsibilities to do. Well, so, but that is not what I was trying to explain. I was trying to explain that certain things that happened within that period of time. For example, the debt crisis in which we find ourselves is a crisis that happened within the last 13 years. Is it because the previous regimes or the current regime does not borrow? Or is it because borrowing was a problem? That was not the problem. But the way the loans were negotiated was the problem. Because all these loans were negotiated to mature within a short period of time and around a particular period of time. So we find ourselves in a position where all the loans that were negotiated and taken within the last 13 years are all maturing. The only time that Kenya would have a reprieve in terms of loans is in 2034. Now, during this period of time, there is a demand on the exchequer to repay the loans. Apparently, around 65% of our revenue collection goes in the repayment of the loans. So that tells you the crisis in which we find ourselves. So therefore, then we had a crisis that had to be resolved. The challenge is we had a regime that felt that the only way to handle the fiscal space was to increase the taxation, and that is what led to the acrimony that we also experienced in the government that is last year. So there are several transformations that are happening to just try and amend the errors that have been there before.
Jose, I've lost his SMS. It was in a group. I'll look for it later. Looking at the current state of the politics and so on, let's get back to Kajiado County. There were talks of maybe a Ma party that especially will field candidates in Kajiado, Narok. There was that talk. I'm
and
sure
it was
you
just
had.
that, a talk.
I'm sure you heard about
Yes.
it. So do you think, because also there are so many claims, I remember during the last public participation in Ngong, people are complaining, they say that they feel that Kajiado North has been left behind. First of all, about the Ma party, or the so-called Ma party that was to be formed, do you think it's something that is possible? What's your take on it? And as a resident of Kajiado North, because Kajiado
Can we
North...
ask 1-2 questions so that I answer? Yes.
What?
So, one, nothing is impossible. If they want to form a party, they will form a party. So nothing can stop them. It's their right to form a party. So you asked a question, is it something that is possible? Yes, it's possible.
Do you think
if
it will...
the brains behind it push it through to conclusion, yes, it is possible. As for the position, whether it would be impactful is questionable. I have my reasons. One, I think I am an enemy of the county government, and more so, we've had our own differences with the government, because I hold a different thought completely. I felt that those who were non-Ma were not treated as adequately as they ought to have been treated. And this is a concern that I have raised over and over again. The reason why I say as to whether it would be impactful is questionable. I don't know how many of our viewers know the total number of registered voters in Kajiado. I speak from facts, and you can go back to IBC and refer. According to the last records that I don't think have been amended so far,
Should be
the total
400,000.
number of registered voters is 466,000
Yeah.
registered voters. If you tabulate this into the tribal arithmetics, the total number of Maasai registered voters is 166. So we are having close to 300,000 members who are registered and they're non-Ma. So whether the Ma party would become effective is for you to answer.
There has been cries that Kajiado North has not been included in the governance of Kajiado County. You as a resident, do you have the same feeling?
I don't have the same feeling. I see it. So it's not what I feel, it is what I see. I don't know if you as a journalist would count the number of projects that the county is doing in Kajiado North in particular. I think it is because over a period of time, we have, like in the national politics, where the Nyanza region has slagged behind because they've basically been in the opposition, we could most probably say that Kajiado North has been an opposition constituency in Kajiado County. And depending on where the governor has come from, the first governor, Nkedienye, tried the much he could with us here. Hardly would you talk about our governor in this place. So yes, the cry of people from Kajiado North is authentic. And it is a cry that the ruling elites within the county should take into consideration. Yeah.
So you're in the same party with the governor?
Yes,
until maybe have you tried to raise the issue or raise the concern?
The party is not the one that is running the county.
No, if you're in the same party, you were in the same campaign trail sometime, we think it can be easy to
The fact
talk
that
to.
we are in the same party does not mean we hold the same ideologies. And that's why I said it's not the party that is running the county, it's the governor that is running the county. So it is possible for him to be, for example, the governor of Nairobi is from the president's party, but he was being ousted for non-performance. So it's not the president that was performing, neither was it UDA. It is the individual that holds the position. So this has nothing to do with party. It has nothing to do with the person who is sitting on the seat. Yes. Do I have a problem with Lenku? No, I don't have a problem with Lenku as a person. Do I have a problem with his governance structure? He knows I do.
What is supposed to happen? Should do you think, you remember there was a time they were calling for maybe 6 piece?
And I know governor will call me on this interview.
There was a time we were calling for, there was a call for 6 piece. Consema, you vote for MCA, you vote for MP, you vote for senator, all of them from the same party,
Yes.
so that a senator could support, so that an MCA could get development easily from the governor or from the county government. Do you think that's one of the solutions?
First of all, I still go back to where we started before. I don't think the MCA has to align with the governor. The MCA is a legislator. I don't think the MCA has to align with governor for the ward to get development. No. The governor has his role cut out for him. There is the CIDP, the Integrated Development Plan. There is the annual work plan. The governor needs to capture what comes from the ground and execute it the way it is done at the national level. So whether I am aligned politically or not, then it is the responsibility of the devolved governance system to cater for the needs of the people that they lead. Now, when it comes to campaigning, we campaign for elections of our party candidates into office to give us strength. You understand? But whether that translates into the actual work is, again, for you to answer. It's another questionable or debatable position.
What needs to change getting into 2027? so that that we can have, because it's a cry that we've had in the last, you said Kedienye tried, but at the end of the day people still had their reservations about it. The feeling was still the same, that Kajiado North has been left behind. Heading to 2027, what needs to change?
The electorate needs to have a mind shift. That's simple. The electorate needs to have a mind shift. We must go through a mental transformation to inform the way we elect our leaders.
Mm-hmm.
One, I don't believe that we need to elect leaders based on the promises that they give us, but we should also study their ability. Number two, we must look at, when doing our elections, we must never be lured by the freebies and the goodies that are given to us. Our choices should be informed by the agenda that is put on the table. Yeah. So generally, there needs to be a shift within the electorate, because the kind of leaders, well, the truth is this: our leadership is a reflection of who we are.
You campaigned for the governor. It's also a reflection of you.
Yes. But I want you to know, and I don't shy away from saying it, my difference with the governor began before elections.
Ah.
Yes.
What was the issue?
Well, that's not for this debate.
Okay, thank you so much. We're still taking in your questions. We'll be winding up the interview in a few. Talk to us through our social media pages at TPM TV. At TPM TV, that is on Facebook and on YouTube, so that we can continue to talk about this. The voter registration that is ongoing. We've not seen so much. We've not seen so much numbers as we expected. Maybe is it that people are losing faith in this matter of election, or what's your take on it?
Which numbers were you expecting?
Expecting very high numbers, because IEBC projected more than 5 million new voters.
What did they project last time?
I've not checked on the
Projections
figures
are
last time.
just that.
Mm-hmm.
Projections. And it doesn't mean, let's be very honest, before you can make a judgment, you need to do a statistical analysis of the previous voter registration exercises. What were the total number of increase at the end of the process? What was the total number of increase at the beginning of the process? Now, one thing you must understand, what we are going through now is the general voter registration, which is an ongoing process. Then we have that specialized, I don't know, I can't remember how they call it, where they come out to mobilize people to register as voters. They do it around thrice before the elections. Mm-hmm. Now, that is the special time when they try to push the numbers to get to their projections. But at this period of time, it is the normal thing that happens since the change of the 2010 Constitution, that people can walk into an electoral office and register as voters. Now, you need to find out the tabulation of the numbers that happened within that period of time. So you can't justify an hypothesis that currently the numbers are low, because you are tabulating these numbers against what? So can we close the exercise, and then when we close the exercise, then match it against the previous registrations? And then we said, in the run-up to 2022 elections, this was the total increase of numbers. Mm-hmm. In the run-up to 2017 elections, these were the numbers. In the run-up to 2013 elections, these were the numbers. If compared to, that is now what we call the comparative analysis, compared to what we have in the run-up to 2027 elections, then there is voter apathy. As at now, it is not deducible. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Due to our time, we'll look at now your manifesto. And just an overview, you had talked about infrastructure and schools. What do you have in plan for Kajiado North?
What do I have in plan for Kajiado North?
Mm-hmm.
I have a manifesto. Yes.
What is that manifesto?
I had mentioned part of what I have in my manifesto.
Yeah.
And I said my manifesto is largely infrastructure. And I've talked about socioeconomic infrastructure. I've talked about academic infrastructure. And I've also talked about the road infrastructure. Yes. So this, comparatively to what happens at the national level, is what I am gunning to get the seat so that I would be in a position to help implement. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we'll wind up at that. Just maybe to finalize, just while finalizing, are you team 2-term or team 1-term?
I am team ODM.
So you're not team 1-term or team 2-term?
I am team ODM. Currently, ODM has a working arrangement with the UDA party, or the ruling party. And we find ourselves in what we call the broad-based government. I am a supporter of the broad-based government, but I am also a firm believer in the tenets of my party. And so I still wait for guidance and direction. I think in the last parliamentary group meeting that we had, in which I was present, don't ask me in what capacity.
I just wanted to ask that, in fact.
I was present. And the party leader...
But I saw it on your social media platform, and I was parliamentary group
Yes, you
meeting.
will see a lot of it. So that would still help you question a lot of things. But in that discussion, I think the party leader gave very explicit directions. And he said, one, we have a working arrangement to 2017. That is our working... to 2027. 2027. That is our working arrangement. Now, should there be an agreement within the party and the ruling party to extend this to beyond 2027, it will be communicated. And that's my position, because I am an obedient follower of my party leader.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much, obedient follower. Okay, just to finalize, out from politics, you're also an author, you're also a motivational speaker. Maybe
I am not a motivational speaker. I am a trainer.
A trainer.
Yes.
You're also a trainer.
I am a corporate trainer.
So maybe there is someone who wants to be an author there, outside there, a young person. How do we get into the streets?
Well, writing is a passion. So it is not something you desire. It's something you dive into depending on the passion that you have. And number two, you must have the material. That means your extent of exposure and the level of information must also be very accurate. You need a lot of references, and you need mentorship through the process. Now you need to have the right people with you to guide you through the process. It is not an easy thing. It is not something I started today. I have 6 books in the market. I am doing 2 currently as we speak. And it has been a process. It has been a journey. I started with a single booklet, and I've kept graduating them from one level to another level. One, I have said, it is a passion. Because writing is not easy. You can't wake up one morning and you've written something. It has to passionately be driven from within you as an individual. And then number 2, I said you need mentorship. Your information must be up to date, because you must be very accurate with facts. Yeah. Okay.
We call it a wrap. Thank you so much. This is TPM TV. Hisia Siasani. Thank you so much, Mr. Yogo, for joining us in the show. Thank you so much for joining us in the show. Till we meet next time. Bye-bye.
Feel free. You can reach out anytime. Thank you so much, and I'm grateful.
Okay.